Says going live now, and then YouTube has a weird delay. How's it going, everybody? I am in Barcelona, Catalonia, and many of you may be following the news, but there was just a speech by the president of Catalonia on independence. So if you're just tuning in, make sure to hit the like button. It really helps the channel. Give that thumbs up. You can follow me on Twitter at Timcast. I'm joined by Mr. Taylor Beacom here.
Hello.
And we were just outside of Parliament, where the announcement was made that, guess what? Surprise, surprise, there is no Declaration of Independence just yet. So now, bear with me as I'm going to press this little share button so that this gets tweeted out. And, okay, so I want to explain something else, too. Wait, can I not tweet this? There we go, why Twitter is buried. I'm on mobile, and...
Is it cool if I'm watching the live stream that we're doing right now?
You're watching it, okay. This is kind of frustrating. Because I have to type it. It's like the YouTube app gets worse. YouTube app gets worse every day.
Damn, you got 300 already.
Bear with me one moment, everybody. You can see my hand, right? Was that so difficult? So. Here's what's going on. Normally, I shoot a video early in the day or the day before so that I can edit something a few hours beforehand and then publish by 4 p.m. Eastern. However, the announcement was scheduled between 6 and 8 p.m. here in Barcelona, which meant there was no way I was going to be able to film anything and keep up with the breaking news that we just heard. So let me just lay it out plain and clear once again. No independence for Catalonia. The president said that they have the right to declare. He's calling for Parliament to push a mandate to declare that they have a right to be a sovereign state. He said several things like the relationship between Catalonia and Spain isn't working. And this got a lot of cheers and a lot of applause, but ultimately said he wants to suspend the consequences of the referendum for a few weeks so there can be dialogue. So it's hard to know exactly what's going to happen. What I can say is the referendum was on the 1st. And what we were told was that within 48 hours of the referendum, they were going to declare independence. Did they declare independence? No, they didn't. They said it would come later in the week. Then later in the week came, and they said early next week. Then they said Monday. Then they said Tuesday. Tuesday's here. They made the announcement that they are not officially declaring independence. So this is where we're at. And where this puts me is that I'm in a position where if I want to have a video up for you guys today, letting you know what happens, this is the best way I can go about doing it, but it also provides an opportunity for those in the comments to ask specific questions. I did do some interviews, and I'm on my way to go interview somebody else, a local journalist, about what they think is going to happen following the speech by the president and the referendum. But ultimately, there's been some interesting predictions, I should say. One person told me that, I shouldn't say one person, many people have told me they believe the whole independence bid is simply Catalonia trying to gain leverage against the Spanish federal government. And they didn't believe, many people told me this, they said they didn't believe there would be independence because they think that Catalonia is just going to use the referendum showing they want independence so they can go to the Spanish federal government and say, oh, hey, we're going to leave unless, you know, give us this, that, and this. Whatever the reason, it's been a slow roll, it's been really dragged out. Some people I've spoken with, not here on the ground, obviously, because we're just about a block or so away from where the event happened. I'm not streaming there because there was tens of thousands of people and my phone didn't work. But those people were pissed. And one dude told me he was not satisfied. He expected the declaration, but he's hoping the government continues to fight for it. So for those that are watching, I'll just do another quick little plug, I suppose. Hit that thumbs up button because it helps the YouTube channel boost the algorithm however it works. And you can use the super chat if you want your comments to appear above everybody else's, and that also helps support the work that I do. As many of you may or may not know, basically all of my videos from Catalonia were demonetized, okay? So let me explain how this works. I upload the video, 90% of those views are going to come within the first 24 hours, and YouTube says my video is not suitable for most advertisers. That means I make almost no money on these videos, and trust me, it's a lot of work. It's 2 to 3 hours of editing. It's 3 to 4 hours of shooting. Plus, I got to source the information. You know, I got to find people. I got to travel. I got to figure out where to go, and then I find out that I'm not going to be able to make any money on it. YouTube will reinstate my video, allowing it to be monetized a day or two later. In which case, there's no traffic anyway, and I would say that the approximation is around $10 per video, so it's pretty brutal. But that being said, let's pop in here and I'll hit some of these super chats for those that have sent them in. Scott Jonesy, the UK is watching closely. Lots of worries re the Franco bust-in people and the fascist blatant rhetoric. Thanks for the super chat. And Sunday, thank you for the super chat. Now I'm gonna pop over to the old regular chat. And I think I got through the most important information of what's happening so far. You can see, I don't know if you can make it up, there's a ton of people with the Catalan flags. They're all leaving. And Taylor and I, we stopped off at this little restaurant here for some tapas. Get some food after standing around for several hours, and then drink water out of a really fancy glass.
The food is insanely good here. The food is amazing. We're lucky. Iberico ham, yum.
And it's not expensive either, which is crazy. Like the couple bucks per tapas.
Yeah.
So we got some helicopters flying overhead. There's been numerous police helicopters. There have been news helicopters. It's been, I don't know. It's been weird. Catalonia is definitely a weird place. Let me just say. Got a super chat here. I'll hit the super chat in a second, but I just want to say that one thing that's really interesting about Catalonia is that everything seems to be inverted. There was a decently large Antifa presence over in the square in front of Parliament. All peaceful. That's about it. They didn't really do anything. And, oh, now we have food coming.
Yeah.
Hello.
The perks of traveling to Barcelona.
Those are huge.
Okay, this is
calamari.
calamari, okay?
Gracias. Okay. Calamari and seafood croquettes. And it's only, this whole thing is like, it's less than 10 bucks.
Yeah.
Good deals. Let me hit those super chats. I got Fergulcast. Says keep up the good work. Thank you for the super chat. The Geth. Speaking of ads, did you see H3's video about the same ads pulled from YouTube playing on CNN as the Vegas shooting coverage? Orientation is locked. Oh, come on. Don't be so annoying, YouTube. Keep up the good work, Tim. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, if you know, we can talk a little bit about Catalonia. We can talk a little bit about anything. There's a great opportunity for you guys in that I wasn't able to put together a daily video because of the breaking news situation. But whenever there's a breaking news event, I try to do a live stream. And so this is what we end up with today. And we got a super chat here from Dark and Cypher. Tim, while political fires are breaking out in Spain, we've got actual fires tearing us up in California. Send some positive energy, bruh. Send all my positive energy to California, because that news out in California it's a big bummer. So, someone asks, how expensive are the hookers in Catalonia?
Oh.
What was that? What did you tell us? How much did you charge us last night?
Yeah, I mean, both of
us. It was pretty cheap, actually.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I have no idea. Good question, though. Maybe someone else can find out. Maybe someone at Vice.
Did someone pay you to ask that question?
No. It's H3H3, Philip DeFranco. They both did videos about this. I was actually going to do a video about this because following the Las Vegas shooting, I put out a video saying, for one, knock off the conspiracy theories, right? I'm actually cool to a certain degree with amateur sleuthing and people who are trying to dig up the truth. Surprisingly, I think Laura Loomer has done a pretty bang-up job with some of the information that she's published very early on. Like, we learned that Steve Paddock was actually checked in 3 days earlier, which that impressed the hell out of me. So not all of these videos that people call conspiracy theories are bad, but some of them are pretty wacky. I did this. I also said that people on the left love clamoring about gun control but don't clamor about terrorism, and people on the right love clamoring about terrorism but clamor much less about gun control. And the point of my video was to say, let's all be reasonable here. You know, our hearts and you know prayers out to those who are affected by this, and let's have a real dialogue across the table. Well, I got demonetized, and I got confirmed by manual review that I was not allowed to monetize that video. And I thought to myself, sure, okay. I did a video with some hackers who are working on a charitable program for Puerto Rico to help repair communications technology, and I did not monetize. I took off all ads, and the donation link on there linked to their charity. I still made some money off that video from YouTube Red, which is kind of cool. I'll send that to the hackers, but it was only like, you know, I can't give out the exact numbers. I think YouTube yells at you for doing that, but needless to say, it was in the ballpark of lunch. Nothing fantastic. But when I did a video about Las Vegas and they told me it was demonetized, I said, you know, that's fine. I don't want to do a video where I talk about these harsh political issues and people have been negatively impacted and make money off that. That's not my intention. So if they're going to demonetize it, I'll just say okay. And then Jimmy Kimmel's video is monetized. So what pisses me off is that this is not an issue of advertiser choice. For one, it is true that advertisers do not have to advertise on your content. Okay? I've advertised before. I have chosen which videos I want my ads to appear on. That's simple. Most advertisers do this to a certain degree. They target their ads in certain areas because advertising motorcycles to, you know, toddlers makes no sense. But if you've got some kid who's watching, you know, Fuzzy Family Spider-Man Fun Time or whatever, advertising Legos makes sense. So, you know, you want the kids to go, Mom, I want Legos and all that stuff. Not, I can drive a motorcycle or something. But hey, you know, never know. Maybe kids like motorcycles. I don't know. The point is, targeted advertising makes sense. In this instance, with the demonetization, this is major networks, CNN, New York Post, Wall Street Journal, getting a pass. Okay, they're allowed to publish anything and put ads on it. Jimmy Kimmel's allowed to very incorrectly talk about the Vegas shooting in terms of guns and gun control and make a very emotional and poorly... I appreciate the sentiment that Jimmy Kimmel had, but I think most people who did the research know that he was wrong on a lot of issues. His opinions, absolutely fine. But when you say that the public shouldn't be allowed to buy an M16, but the public can't buy M16s, it's like, come on, dude. Oh, I got some cops.
Getting cold, Tim.
Well, you know, there's nothing I can do about it.
Keep talking. I'm eating.
You eat.
Yeah, I'll eat all the food. While you
so let me hit some of these super chats while we're at it. Got one that says, "Keep up the good work." Thank you, Vigard. Heidi Duncan, thanks for the important international news. Thank you all for the super chat. I gotta say, so far the super chat is probably the most revenue-generating video I've done so far. Someone says, how popular is monarchism in Catalonia? If they become independent, will they retain their king? I actually haven't asked a lot of people that. What I can say is probably not. Catalonia has a president. I don't know if, does Catalonia have a king?
Spain has a king.
I know Spain has a king, King Felipe VI, I believe. What I can say is that there are a decent amount of monarchists that we've seen. I don't know if the fascists that we've seen are monarchists, but certainly Franco, I believe. I could be wrong because I'm not a historian. I'm here mostly about the breaking news and current events, but my understanding is that Franco, the dictator from, you know, way back when, was a monarchist, and there's a lot of bad things about that. Obviously, fascism is bad. And we've seen people on the ground giving fascist salutes, the Roman salute. Yes, on Twitter, I called it the Nazi salute because most people refer to it as the Nazi salute, so I was trying to speak colloquially. Vincent Fremont says, thank you for working on Catalonia. You are pretty much the only person doing it properly in Europe. Come back to Sweden, I'll buy you a drink, and you should drop the beanie sometimes. No, I don't know when I'm going to be going to Sweden next. Sweden's really nice, but I just didn't really... I don't feel comfortable there. I don't know how to describe it. It's just, I don't feel very comfortable.
Sweden.
Somebody's mad because I don't know Spanish history. Well, what I'll just say is I'm not here to talk about Spanish history. I'm mostly here to talk about what happened today and what people are telling me about what's happening today. And so let me just explain. You know, a lot of people, they believe that I'm going to be some omniscient oracle. That simply by my foot touching the ground here in Spain, I immediately know everything about everything that's ever happened. Let me just explain that the reason I travel and do news is that for many international stories, it's very difficult to get English-speaking news about what's happening here.
Interviews, yeah.
Interviews especially. So, for example, why did I want to come to Catalonia? Well, I knew about the referendum, and when I started doing research into it, all the news stories are in Spanish, and so I'm thinking, okay, I'll run it through Google Translate. The translation isn't perfect, but there are people here who speak English. There are English articles about this. The New York Times and a lot of big publications have putting stuff out, but I thought when it comes to on-the-ground breaking reporting, it would be beneficial to English speakers to have video and commentary in English about the things that we're seeing and the photos I've taken in the video. So I don't think I'm omniscient, nor do I know everything, but I can certainly point a camera and say, here's what's happening on the ground in Spain, as I've done in most places. So
I'm here to learn, man.
Someone donated that hearing aid that automatically translates spoken language to the user. So Google Translate has conversation mode. and you can press that, and then both people can speak in that language, and it will have a conversation. I actually use it a lot. Not only that, remember Google Glass? I had Google Glass for a while, and that did the auto translate thing. Looks like Stone Tim Pool's here. You know, a lot of people always ask me about Stone Tim Pool. They're huge fans. So I don't, you know.
I know who it is.
You know who Stone Tim Pool is?
No, I'm not gonna tell you.
Oh, I don't know. Sure.
It's someone you know.
Oh, okay. Is it Luke?
I'm not gonna tell you.
It's probably Luke.
I'm not gonna tell you. That'll ruin the fun.
Scott Jones says, "Pop by London on the way back. What are people saying on the ground? This has been great coverage. Are Catalans cheesed as such?" Oh yeah, wow. I was standing up on one of these street poles filming with this camera right here. The booing was intense. The booing and whistling, it was like, first everyone cheered because Puigdemont, I think I'm pronouncing his name. Puigdemont.
Yeah.
Puigdemont said that, you know, they have a right to a sovereign state, that they're calling for a mandate for independence. Everyone cheers, they're screaming and clapping, and then he says, but we're asking to suspend the consequences of the referendum so we can have a dialogue. And then it was just boo, everyone was mad. So I asked a couple people, and got a chopper flying overhead. That looks like police. Nope, not sure.
The demonstrations have been peaceful. The demonstrations.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I talked to a couple people. One guy said, I asked him, "Are you satisfied with the results?" And he said, "No. We expected a declaration of independence today, and it didn't happen." They said that they were going to uphold the law, and the law was that if a referendum was held, they would go by whatever the decision was. And they knew it was going to be for independence, and it was for independence. So they said within 48 hours we will declare. Wednesday came and nothing happened. They said by the end of the week, nothing happened. They said early next week, Monday, nothing happened. Tuesday at 6, nothing happened. Needless to say, yes, people here are cheesed.
Someone says in the U.S. we call the South traitors for secession. Why is it different there, meaning here?
Oh, calling because the South lost.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
They fought an actual civil war.
Well, it wasn't a civil war.
Yeah.
The fight in the U.S. was a war for secession.
Yeah.
And the North was trying to maintain the Union. The South was trying to secede. It's that simple. And they lost. Yeah. So I mean, look, if the United States lost the war for independence, it would have been viewed the same way we view the Civil War in the United States. But let's just say something. A civil war is when two factions fight for control over one government. A revolution is when a government collapses and a new one emerges in its place. What's happening in Catalonia is an attempt at secession. If there is any conflict, if war breaks out, it will be a war of secession or a war of independence, depending on your perspective. If Catalonia loses, it will be traitorous. If they win, it will be, you know, sunshine and lollipops. They'll be the heroes. So,
Sedition.
Yeah, and a lot of people are being charged with sedition. Let me pop over here to this super chat. Someone says, the French media reporting is very poor on the issue. Lucas Baranski says, Tim, how's Catalonia today? Have a good meal, and I wonder, will you try to do some coverage of Poland? Of course, when something happens, as now it's calm. Actually, one of the things I wanted to do was to go to Poland and do a story about migration, because early this year I did a story on migration in Sweden, and as you know, Sweden is bringing in a lot of migrants. And then I want to do a story on Poland, how Poland is not bringing in migrants, and we can see kind of the inversion there. Chris Machala says, do you feel that the mainstream media have misinterpreted the support for Catalonian independence? All I hear from the BBC and others is that it's an undemocratic vote and everyone wants to be Spanish. I would certainly say that's not true, because we saw over 2 million people go out and vote yes for independence. There's a video of a woman trying to go into the polling station and a police officer cracks her in the face with a truncheon.
And that was 45% of Catalonian, 46% of Catalonian residents.
43.
Yeah.
90% of 43% said yes.
Yeah.
A woman got cracked in the eye with a truncheon. Her eye was swollen shut, and she still voted. These people wanted to vote. They want to be independent. Now, does that mean all of them knew? No. I certainly interviewed people the other day at the nationalist event who told me that they felt that the vote was illegal. Now, I've heard a few different arguments as to why the vote is illegal. One, Spanish nationalist says that the Constitution of Spain requires if any vote would affect all of Spain, then all of Spain has a say in it. And that means if Catalonia wants to leave the country, other regions of Spain are involved as well. But the better argument that I've heard from a pro-Spain Catalonian resident, so they said, they were from Catalonia, was that there wasn't enough Catalonian politicians to vote for the referendum. That they had only a slight majority to actually push for the referendum, and that the people who live in Catalonia, who believe in Spain, were silenced. In which case, they believe the referendum was illegal because it didn't have the required amount of parliamentary votes in Catalonia, nothing to do with Spain. So there's a lot of opinions going around. My personal opinion, because you know what's really frustrating is I've had a lot of people say that, telling me that I'm pro-independence or whatever, which is far from the case. I mean, certainly, I'll just say I'm not pro, for, or against. I'm not Spanish. I don't know what they should or should not be doing. What I can say is I believe independence will cause a lot of headaches, as we've seen with Brexit. But ultimately, I just, you know, my response is a shrug. I'll tell you what people tell me, and we'll try and figure out what's the best solution. But honestly, I'm not a genius here. Philip Bill sent some cash over in the super chat and said, "Now you don't have to dine and dash." Thank you, Philip Bill. You've got 2 first names. Give Catalonia back to the Native Americans. All right, so I'm gonna go only for about 9 more minutes because the goal for this video wasn't to do my traditional hour-long live broadcast, but you'll get a little bit more. This one's gonna be half an hour. Normally my videos are around 10 to 15 minutes, but as I explained early on, I was not able to shoot. I did a ton of awesome shooting, but there's no way with the breaking news happening right now I'd get a video out, edited on time for the 4 p.m. publishing for you guys. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of the shots from today, from what we saw and everything. That'll be up tomorrow, but that will only be about a minute and a half, just so you can see what the atmosphere was like. You can hear the booing and see how people felt. I'm gonna be talking with a journalist just after this, who's going to explain to me kind of their perspective as a filmmaker and journalist living in Barcelona. And then we're going to sort of recap on this, on the breaking news, what the president of Catalonia said, and where this all leads to. So for now, we've got about 8 more minutes for you guys to ask some more questions. And so Ura Smith says, "What happened? Did they declare?" You know what? I think it's fair for those that are just tuning in, just to do a quick recap. No declaration of independence. They asserted their right to declare. The president said he wants Parliament, you know, to present a mandate to declare, but he's asking for a suspension of the consequences of the referendum for a few weeks, so they're gonna have a dialogue. What that means, anyone's guess is as good as mine. It's just more grains of sand in the heap. So, no independence, not today. And for those that are just tuning in, make sure you hit that thumbs up button because this is a live stream, and apparently that's really important. And you can also use the super chat to donate. But now, in the last few minutes, let's throw it over to Taylor. What do you think's going? Just, you know, I'm gonna grab one of these calamaris while you just give your assessment, I guess.
I ate more than my fair share while you were talking, so I kind of want you to keep talking because it's really good. The seafood here is awesome.
What you talked to some people?
Yeah,
you did some interviews.
Yeah, I talked to one guy tonight who basically just kind of spoke about the reality versus the, I don't want to use the term pipe dream, but just the much more unlikely scenario that the Spanish federal government recognizes Catalonia as an independent state. And he's Catalonian, and he was basically talking about how he doesn't feel Spanish. He travels around and he doesn't feel like people recognize him as Spanish. So I understand and sympathize with his feelings, but at the same time, you have a country that is sovereign and has its own laws and has its own government, and it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, there was an interesting interview I heard. There was a woman, Liz Castro, did an interview with the BBC. Julian Assange tweeted this out, where she said, and this is not, I don't know if this is true or not. You can Google this. Bullfighting was made illegal in Catalonia. So Spain's response was to say that bullfighting is part of the national heritage and it can't be outlawed by Catalonia, and then brought it back. There's been a lot of concerns that, you know, the Spanish police brought in rubber bullets, and the rubber bullets are illegal here in Catalonia. Now, apparently it's not illegal for the Spanish police to bring banned weapons and use them, but this nonetheless enrages Catalonians, excuse me, who feel that their desires, their laws are being undermined by Spain. Then when Spain comes in, we see these national police officers, you know, beating people at the referendum. It just pushes more people towards the idea of independence. So I got some super chats here. Stom, thanks for the coverage. Thank you for the super chat. And Vincent Fremont, at least Catalonia gained leverage on Madrid. So yeah, I think that's an important idea. I mentioned this earlier, that a lot of people I've spoken with think that the whole point of independence, this call for independence, is just to gain leverage over Madrid, so that they can say, oh, we deserve more money, or we deserve more resources, whatever. So let's hit some of these regular old comments, if you guys have any questions. Someone says, Julian was tweeting out ex-IRA members' opinions on the Catalan referendum yesterday. That guy can go F himself. I will say Julian Assange's stance on the Catalonian independence has been really, really hardcore in support of independence. I will say that I think a lot of the things he's brought up are important and valid, and I agree with a lot of it to a certain extent. But I think it's fair to say that he's as far as you can go on one side of the spectrum. So I wouldn't, look, whenever you see someone that's blatantly like pushing an agenda, regardless if they're a journalist or if they're WikiLeaks, I don't get mad. Just put them on that list. Say, I know Julian Assange agrees with this and believes this, so the information he's going to present is going to be in favor of this view. And then you find someone else and they're in the other camp. And I'm not going to hold it against Julian Assange for being passionate about Catalonian independence. I'm just going to make sure I supplement anything he tweets with some other opinions on the issue, and then try and decide for myself. And you should do that for everything. I know it's a challenge, not everyone's a journalist, but you do the best you can. A lot of people asking, no, independence was not declared. And now, for those that are watching the VOD, the video on demand version of this when it's not live, you're going to be like, Jesus, he told me like 8 times that independence was not declared. Nope, we're still in Spain. We're still in Spain. See, people are wearing flags.
Viva Catalonia!
Yeah. One thing that you should all keep in mind, they speak Catalan here. Okay, it's like a lot of people, it's their first language. I know a guy who said he went to a store and he started speaking Catalan, and the guy in the store refused to speak Catalan and started speaking Spanish. So the store clerk spoke Spanish while my friend spoke Catalan, and they both understood each other, but it was like, this incident was kind of a debate almost about independence. That the guy speaking Catalan was like, hey man, we're in Catalonia, you speak Catalan. And the other guy was like, I believe in Spain, so I'm going to speak Spanish. And here they were understanding each other, but having an invisible political debate just by the language they were using. It's pretty... Chuck E. Cheese asks, do you see tensions escalating or rescinding today as compared to over the weekend?
Wow.
Rescinding. I think things are going to chill out, which is why tomorrow I'm out. I've got a speaking event in New York, so I've basically reached my capacity here. Not only that, but it's really frustrating when they keep saying, oh, we'll do it Wednesday, oh, we'll do it Friday, oh, we'll do it Monday, oh, we'll do it Tuesday, and then you keep waiting, and it costs money to be here. And I certainly don't want to be spending money in a foreign city, traveling internationally if I don't have to do it, because, as you know, YouTube has demonetized a ton of my content, so I'm not here to waste money.
Chuck E. Cheese asked that question?
Yeah, Chuck E. Cheese, certainly.
Kind of surprised that the mouse...
So we'll do it live!
The mouse was so...
Tim, do you think ultimately Catalonia will gain independence, or will the fight die down? Man, based on how they've slow-rolled everything, I feel like it feels so far away. They keep saying they're going to do it. They had the referendum. They had this announcement. They keep pushing back the date. It feels like it's not going to happen. So I don't know. Maybe in a couple weeks we'll revisit the issue, but it could be on purpose. I mean, they waited years for this referendum, years, and then an extra week and a half until they finally announce. We saw some police repression. It's hard to know where this is going to go. So, we got about 45 seconds left before I wrap things up. If you guys have any final questions, feel free to ask. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Timcast. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, there's like a subscribe button right there or there. I don't know which side it's on, but hit that button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, because there's new videos every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Today, it's a little early because it's getting late here. I've got an interview to shoot, and I wanted to make sure that I could get you the breaking news as best as possible. So make sure, if you want to support my work, you go to timcast.com/donate. Give whatever you'd like or give nothing at all. My videos are always free and available every day at 4 p.m. but I'm also on Patreon at patreon.com/Timcast. And Taylor here
Yes.
has a YouTube channel, and you've been shooting some interviews, so your channel...
Yeah, it's Beacom of Light on YouTube. Just search Beacom, B-E-A-C-O-M. And on Twitter, I'm at Taylor Beacom. I know I need to use Twitter more. It's embarrassing that I don't like using it, but come hear what I have to say on the thing I don't like using.
Yep, we'll eventually start using it. So, to everybody who gave a thumbs up, greatly appreciated. Everyone in the super chat, love your support. YouTube has demonetized me very heavily this past week, and it's kind of sucked just seeing like revenues go. I don't make a ton of money off YouTube as it is. It's very expensive to try and go on the ground to cover stories like this, but with your support, everybody in the super chat, everyone who gives monthly, the patrons, I would not be able to do this without you, so I'm eternally grateful. Thank you all so much for hanging out again. I will be on Twitter if anything changes, but I will likely be flying out tomorrow. Stay tuned, because tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, I will have a more in-depth recap of the information that you heard today, with an interview from a local journalist and some other locals here on the ground. Plus, you'll get to hear all the booing from the crowds when they announced they weren't declaring today. So, thank you all so much for hanging out, and I will see you tomorrow.
I was trying to do the peace sign.